Welcome to the Sentimental Twist,
where two generations share one love for meaningful spaces and gracious hospitality.
Brittany.
And I'm Melissa.
Let's gather around the table and talk home, hosting, and all things sentimental.
Yay! Welcome back. It's episode 9 of the Sentimental Twist. Now, I'm Melissa, and you can find me at homewithatwist.com, Home with a Twist on Instagram, and then my YouTube is Home with a Twist. Brittany?
And I'm Brittany, and you can find me on Instagram at Brittany Shepherd, thesentimentaldecorator.com, and on YouTube, Brittany Shepherd TSD for The Sentimental Decorator.
We have had so much fun, haven't we?
Yes, I mean, episode 9, and we have 10 for season 1, sort of bittersweet.
Yeah.
But we'll be back in the fall with fall and holiday themes.
Oh, that's going to be so much fun. We're going to just be so energized, and we've got a good show today. We have a guest, so we'll talk about that in a minute.
First guest.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about a fun article that I read in House Beautiful. And the title says, Psychologists Reveal What's Really Behind Your Constant Urge to Redecorate. And
I read it too.
The last episode, Brittany used the word chronic
rearranger.
Chronic rearranger. Okay, I am too. I move things around all the time. So here's what it said. Have you ever updated one thing in your home and suddenly found yourself with a laundry list of changes you want to make? Turns out this isn't just a lack of impulse control, but rather a phenomenon known as the Diderot Effect. Do you know what that is, Brittany?
I only know because of this article.
Okay, well, I think I remember in graduate school coming across this concept, but the Diderot Effect can be explained as a pattern in which one beautiful home upgrade can make its surroundings feel shabbier by comparison. This often leads to a spiral of impulse buying as you try to make everything else match that aesthetic. The phenomenon got its name from French philosopher Denis Diderot. In 1769, Diderot penned an essay titled Regrets for My Old Dressing Gown. And the essay, as he described it, was titled A Warning to Those Who Have More Taste Than Fortune. Lamenting the receipt of a new scarlet dressing gown, it began a series of impulsive purchases that plunged him into debt, which is why he's the namesake of this concept. So are you guilty of this?
No, necessarily like the impulse buying, but I am guilty of okay, I move one thing and now I need to rearrange the rest of the house. And because I do have so many things already, I typically am able to shop the house, but then I will fill in the gaps, like maybe curtains or throw pillow covers and things like that. But, I thought about when I read this article the first time, it sounds like me when I rearranged for the Christmas tree, and that becomes a snowball effect of furniture getting moved around to different rooms in the house. And then I redecorate those little areas a little bit on top of decorating for Christmas. And then it kind of stays that way for the year, and then I do it all again at Christmas time the next year.
I know. Since I finished my ladies' lounge, now I'm like, well, what else can I do? Like, I really want to, there's a wall. I took some of the art down in my laundry room. I kind of had a gallery wall in there, and I took the art down and I moved a lot of it up to my ladies' lounge, which I'm coming to you today from my ladies' lounge, not my office, because I kind of wanted you to see it and have it a little bit different background. And I'm glad I moved it up here because I actually notice it more. Because really, a laundry room is just something, at least my laundry room is really tiny, and you just walk in, do your business, and then you leave. But now what I want to do is hang wallpaper in there. And guess what kind of themed wallpaper I want?
I don't know.
Cat.
Botanical.
Cats. Yeah, I want cat wallpaper. And then I'm going to take the pictures of my cats and have them. There's a guy I found on Etsy where he'll take pictures of your animals, photographs, and he digitizes them to make them look like a painting. And he does a really good job. And then you run them off on paint on either paper, like from a really like quality portrait paper, or you can have them put on canvas. And I did that for my daughter for Christmas because she had lost her cat. And I wanted her to have a picture of Wilson to hang on the wall. So, and then have gallery lights above them. I just think that the aesthetic. But here's the thing is I have textured walls. So now I've got to hire somebody to come and texture the walls because I'm not a DIY.
I'm not either. We'll do small projects,
Yeah.
but nothing major. I'm not a DIY gal, and you know, I'm honest about that.
And
I
what's
got
your
a great
next, so what
handyman.
is your next project?
So that's what I was gonna say. My next project, I don't really show this space a lot on Instagram because it's kind of just been meh since I moved in, and there's a few different iterations so far, but it's my den snug area where I sort of waller room, if you will. But I painted it neutral because it ties into the kitchen and it'll stay that way, the paint color most likely. And right now I just have blues and greens, things that I already had. And I've had several different couches. I think I mentioned in another episode trying to find the right size couch. And I think I'm going to lean towards a really cozy love seat and then have
Oh,
more chairs. But that's the next space that I really want to move towards styling more permanently because right now it's just things that I throw in there. And I'm leaning towards a more moody vibe. Even with the neutral walls, I kind of want to make it more dark and cozy and moody, maybe lean into the 90s vintage florals kind
yeah.
of
So you don't think you
vibe.
paint the walls a moody color?
Well, they're all connected to other rooms.
Oh,
So it's one of those kind of odd layouts, old house layouts, but I like that it flows into the kitchen because I can be in the kitchen and people can be in there and it's not open concept, but it's not closed concept. So I want to keep the wall color probably the same, but there are some built-ins that I could do some moody colors on.
yeah. I love it when I see people that have painted their built-ins like a dark forest green.
And that green is kind of my where I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
that would be so pretty, that pop of color. And then have like brass knobs or, brass fixtures on it, like puck, not like, the lamps that we love, the
Mhm.
little touch lamps. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a set of built-in shelves in there, and that's also it was a built-in desk, but I that had built-in shelves above it, but I took the desk part out and just put cabinetry in, the cabinetry folks that did my kitchen, and I have a mini fridge, like a wine fridge. So it's like a little dry bar beverage center. So I have my glassware and my coffee pot and things like that. So I think it would be really cute and with a pop of color, like a moody pop of color. I just have to commit.
Yeah, you're speaking my love language with the fridge because I'm contemplating putting a fridge in my ladies' lounge where I can keep my wine. Now, in your wine fridge, is it cold enough to also put like your LaCroix in it?
So it's got my coffee creamer and things like that, coffee accoutrements because it's with the coffee bar. It's got chilled wines, my Prosecco's and things like that. And then the rest of the shelves are LaCroix and ginger ale.
Okay, and what brand is it?
I got it from Wayfair.
Okay.
I think it's Danby, so like an off brand or something like that.
And it
It's
has
not one
does
of
it
the
have
main
clear
appliances.
glass front?
Clear
Ooh, so
glass front.
you can see
hmm
in it.
So I always arrange the sparkling waters, so they're pretty.
Yeah, I would put like the green glass, well, like Topo Chico. We drink a lot here in Texas. I don't know if that's a big set, like in where you
I
are.
love it.
Yeah,
Not as many grocery stores carry it, but I love
and
it.
that wine, that sparkling wine that's in the real pretty cobalt blue
hmm
bottles. That would be pretty. Okay, well, I'll have
Yeah.
to check that out.
Okay.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So we love the Diridot effect. We totally embrace it. We don't want anyone to go in debt, certainly,
No.
or, be destitute. And I don't think this article necessarily means it's a complete redo, like you got to go out and buy new carpet and flooring and curtains and stuff. It's just like what Brittany and I do. We just move stuff around in the house. It always looks like you have something new. My husband hates moving furniture. He's like, why can't we just leave it where it was? And I'm thinking about taking oh, I don't know if I will or not. I have an animal print love seat in my ladies' lounge that I super duper love. But I have found that love seat, here's the thing to think about. Well, you don't have a TV in your den, right?
I do. That's where I have my TV.
See, I have found that while I love the love seat and it's super comfortable, I can't lay out all the way.
I can because I'm not tall.
That's true. You probably fit like a little Polly Pocket in yours.
Do.
Yeah, I'm having to like lay sideways and put my legs on an ottoman. And so I've kind of been contemplating calling my movers and having them switch my love seat with my sofa from downstairs. But that takes out one seat,
That's true.
basically.
Yeah.
So do I want to sacrifice that? Do three people ever
Mhm.
sit on a sofa?
Rarely. It's odd. It's weird. People find it weird. They don't,
Unless you're a couple,
unless
and
they're
then
family or couple,
yeah,
something
like
like that.
it would have to be like a couple and a best friend or something. So maybe that
hmm
won't be that much of an issue. I don't know. I
No,
can't decide.
but what you just said about moving furniture around made me laugh because there's a meme on Instagram, and I can't tell you how many times different friends have sent this to me, but it says, "No one is more determined than a woman rearranging furniture by herself."
Isn't that the
That's
truth?
that's me
That is the
completely.
truth. I don't care if nobody's home. I will like put towels underneath legs and drag it across the floor. And because I know that Mr. Twist hates it, so I'd rather just do it and have him come home and go, what looks different in here? Okay. So
Okay.
let us know and send us a email at the sentimental twist podcast at gmail.com and let us know if you're guilty of the Diderot effect.
Or if you're a chronic rearranger.
Or if you're a chronic rearranger, or if you have a Mr. Twist that hates to move furniture and you just do it when he's not home. And usually, if I need to move something, I'll ask my daughter to come over and help me.
Hmm.
Yeah, and she hates to move stuff too.
Yeah. Hannah is who I would call, and then we have a couple of other friends if it's actually something we need muscle for. But Anna and I, we have our little vintage shop, so we're moving furniture all the time, the two of us. Probably shouldn't be as much as we do sometimes, but
No. Okay. All right. Well, that was fun.
that was. What's next? Oh, heirloom recipes and kitchen stories. So it's August, right? We
Yeah.
have the August pantry, and we've talked about preserving things a little bit. I think you mentioned something, and then I put up some peas and some corn a couple of weekends ago, some July produce, and I'll just use those. I just blanched the peas and froze them to use at holiday time, and so like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, and any other special occasions. I didn't put up much, just enough to get through to next summer when it's fresh again. And, when we cook our field peas, that's what they are. They're just called field peas. They're white peas. We, cook them in with a ham hock so they get that good smoky flavor. If I don't have a ham hock, I'll cook them with bacon that I cut up in there that cooks with them. Like I don't fry the bacon up first. I let it sweat a little bit and then put the peas and the water in, and it all meshes in and melts together.
Is
And
that a
then corn.
recipe? Is that a recipe you learned from your mom or your
Yeah.
grandmother?
Probably both. I mean, it came from my grandmother and great grandmother. I just watched them make it. I was never really taught how to make it. I just make it based on.
And then you'd have the hot water cornbread
Yep.
that you've shared with
Hmm.
us before, the recipe on how to
Yes.
do that.
And then corn, I shucked it and froze it to do creamed corn, which I'll probably save for really special occasions, maybe Christmas or and Easter. Really, I like having corn at Easter. So I don't do creamed corn often, and so I'm glad that I did some this year, so I'd have some. So, what about you?
Where did you get your vegetables? Did you go to the farmer's market?
Well, we have, little pop-up produce stands everywhere around this time of year. And so I drove a little south of town where one of my favorites is. It's called Mills Produce. And they have a little stand that they set up every summer by a gas station. And that's
You should
where I got it.
share a visit out there someday on your reels
It's a good
and
point. Yeah.
tie it back to the sentimental recipes of your great grandmother, your grandmother, and your mom. So when you did, well, let me ask you about the peas real quick. Did you have to shell the peas?
They were already shelled for me, thankfully. I just
Oh,
had to wash them really
wow.
good. So everybody that has peas around here, they'll shell them and then sell them by the hamper, which is like a bushel, I think. Don't quote me on that math ratio there, but they call them hampers, a hamper of peas. And I didn't need a hamper, so thankfully this place had them already bagged by like in sandwich bags, and then I just got enough and I did put them in quart bags. So I'll cook them a quart at a time.
So how
So
big is a hamper?
it's
More than one person can eat.
yes. I
Okay.
mean, the last time I put up peas, Anna and I split a hamper between the two of us, and it lasted us 4 years in the freezer. So it's quite a bit, but we don't cook them all the time like people that might cook peas
Yeah, but
really.
the peas last that stay fresh that
Mm,
long in the
yeah.
freezer?
I mean, as long as you blanch them and you freeze them and make sure they're not prone to getting like frostbite,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
freezer
yeah.
burn.
The death of freezer food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so for me, I haven't been doing any work, but Mr. Twist has just been working like a canning dog in the kitchen. So we have gotten so much rain this season that our fig tree is just exploding with figs. Best crop of figs we've ever had. So he's been out there every day picking figs. So we have fig pear jam. He created a recipe that's fig, red wine, and rosemary jam. He's done Christmas jelly, which is the red and green peppers that's perfect on cream cheese. He's done peach habanero, and last night he did pineapple habanero. So he's trying, and then I think he's done making figs, but we are going to just freeze them. Next, I've told him he has to make me some peach jam. So he found a recipe for bourbon peach jam. So that's next. And then we're going to finish out the season with strawberry jam.
Yeah.
So a lot of these will be Christmas gifts or things that we can enjoy throughout the year. So that's our canning.
That sounds great. I haven't done a lot of that this year. Years to come when I have more time, and maybe I will.
Well, I really love it. And the house, especially when he makes the fig rosemary wine jam, the house just smells so good. That would be a great candle scent when you launch your candles. But my kitchen is a disaster because when you have to have all the things, the jars, the big pot. And actually, what's really helped is that he's done when you get them canned, you have to boil them in the water in order for the lid to seal and get a proper seal so you don't get, bacteria in your jam. So he's
Hmm.
been doing that outside in our outdoor kitchen, but the kitchen's a mess. And so I can't really do any cooking reels or anything right now, but it's a trade-off. I'm going to end up with like 90 jars of jam that I could enjoy for years to come. So, yeah. Okay, so now we are going to switch to a fun segment we've not done is a guest interview. And I interviewed Renee from Lucy Betty June and Lucy Betty June Vintage. I found Renee through my friend Tracy several years ago. She's got a darling Instagram account called Lucy Betty June Vintage. So be sure to give her a follow. And you'll hear more about what she's really into collecting, but I just love her aesthetic and how she has everything merchandised. She has 3 different stalls, I believe, at the Grapevine Antiques Mall. So if you're local to DFW, be sure to check her out there. But so we're going to hear from her. So, what is your favorite vintage or heirloom find, Brittany?
So my favorite vintage slash thrift find is this. It's on my Instagram often. I don't couldn't tell you where it's by the time this airs where it is in my house, but it's often on my coffee table, and it's a vintage Porch ceramic basket of artichokes, and
I've
it's
seen that. I'm so
huge.
jealous of that.
I couldn't believe it when I found it. One, I didn't know it was Porch until I picked it up, and it's heavy, and looked at the bottom. I got it for $22.
They didn't know what they had.
They didn't. I guess not. But it is one of my favorite things because it just makes a statement. I've done it on the dining table, on like the coffee table, side table. I don't know. It's one of those things that almost stands alone. You don't really need to do anything with it, but it's my favorite vintage find on my own that I found, not something that I was given or handed down or heirloom. But it was one of those days I walked and I saw it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's mine. I don't care how much it costs." But then it was only $22.
What
So,
a score. That would be really pretty if you had a really big decorative, like a chinoiserie bowl, and maybe you put some wet floral foam in it to fill the whole bowl and then set the artichoke on the top and then fill it in. That would be pretty for Christmas when you have your
yeah,
open house.
I've been
That would
thinking
be
about what I could use it
gorgeous.
for at Christmas.
Yeah.
Although I have so many Christmas things.
Let
So,
me, what is my favorite? It's so hard because I've got so many little things that I've just picked up I think my
mhm.
favorite, if you go back and look at one of my reels on my ladies' lounge, actually, I'm in my ladies' lounge. Why don't I
Yeah,
grab it? Okay.
yeah.
All right. My cat may make an appearance. Okay, I'm coming back.
Okay.
This is one of these impulse buy. I was going, and that's a whole nother segment we'll talk about another time, but this chinoiserie, it's almost kind of like a foot bath, but it's a mini
Yeah,
version, and I have it filled with old dominoes,
cute.
and that's on my table. But I love that it's got little handles. I don't know, I can't tell what the bottom of it says. It is stamped. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
So I got it, and the lady had a lot of blue and white. So I have a lot of blue and white, but I didn't have anything that was as neat as this because this could totally be a great floral container with some foam in it. A mails, hold mail, soaps in the bathroom. So I can use this in a lot of places. And I think
Yeah.
that would be my tip for when you shop for vintage finds is try to think of how you could use it multiple ways.
Uh-huh.
Not to always just have it, be one thing. Have it if it's, and that was only like $20. So
Hmm.
that
That's
was,
cute.
yeah, it
You
is.
never go wrong with blue and white.
No. So and you'll hear from Renee, I ask her what are some popular things that are going to be, what are people shopping for now? What do you
Hmm.
think is a popular trend right now that's highly collectible?
Me, what do I think? I think lately brass has really made a comeback, and especially brass figurines and animals and things like that are starting to pop up. In fact, during the summer Fridays when I was off, I did the Find It For Me Friday, and several people asked me to help them find brass pieces. And recently I did brass insects, and adorable, like brass cicadas, brass dragonflies, brass butterflies, just so many cute things out on Etsy. And some are, priced a little higher than I might want to pay for a small
Yeah,
figurine, but you can find things. So I think brass, kind of it's timeless to me, but I think it's becoming a little bit more popular. I'm finding it less going out and about shopping. So maybe
interesting.
that's a sign. So
I've been seeing a trend that a lot of 80s things, not necessarily, no, I hate the 80s. It's of all the decades we've had in my lifetime, the 80s are my least favorite. I did not like
mine
the
too.
music. I didn't like the hairstyles, the colors. Ugh. Anyway, like a lot of and it kind of leans towards your brass, but like those holders that are brass and then it has the cut glass on top of it. And then you could use it
Mm-hmm.
for like to float a flower or to put a
Uh-huh.
candle. I think it was probably intended for potpourri maybe at one time, but I'm seeing a lot of cut glass come back
Mm-hmm.
into its glory, you know? What do
And
you
I'm
think?
glad because I love glass.
You do like glass?
I do. I like it too much. Like for our little vintage shop, Anna and I always find really beautiful glass pieces. And I'll talk about glass in a little bit in my Bless It. But it's usually really prominent on the shelves in thrift stores. But I've seen less lately. So I don't
I
know.
like glass rose bowls because you can use those for a variety of things. But I have to say, glass bowls in general, I know when I got married the first time around, it was in 89. So a lot of things I got as wedding gifts were like cut glass serving bowls and things. And I have
Hmm.
long since parted with those because I
Hmm.
just didn't use them. I'm more of a white
Yeah.
bowl because I like for the food to be the star. And I just don't gravitate toward glass. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see. We're going to now listen to Renee's interview, and then we're going to come back after the interview and kind of do a follow-up. Well, everyone, I'm so excited today. We have our very first guest for our podcast, Renee Tilkemeyer. And Renee and I met on Instagram, several years ago through our mutual friend Tracy. And she's just a great all-around person. If you have followed me on my blog, Renee and Tracy and I actually had lunch together at Tracy's house, which is like a storybook home. I think that's what I called it. And I immediately knew that Renee would be a great guest for our show because one of our pillars for our podcast is sentimental and collecting. And so, Renee, tell everyone tell everyone about you, where they can find you, and how you got started collecting and dealing.
Okay, my name is Renee Tilkemeyer, and I got started collecting. I kind of had always collected from my teenage years on. I loved the colorful kitchenware from the 50s and 60s. Even though I didn't realize it was, vintage or what it was, I just knew I liked it and it brought back happy memories to me. So I always was a collector. And then probably about 15 years ago, I decided I wanted to try to sell some of what I had collected on Etsy, open an Etsy shop. And I did that. And Did that for about 12 years. Just great. Was wonderful. I loved it. Then I moved on to selling in an antique market, which I absolutely love even more. So that's kind of how I got started, and it just rolled.
So is your niche for what you collect, you have a certain era that you collect, or
Yes,
okay, what is that?
yes, I collect 50s, 60s kitchenware specifically. I mean, that's what is my passion, but also some into the 70s. I do really enjoy the 70s too,
Yeah,
and
I know that
the mid-century vibe.
when you share things on your Instagram, like when you go to some of these estate sales where there it's probably the original owner of the home, 70s, I am always commenting on the wallpaper and I just really dig the 60s and 70s.
Yes.
I wasn't born in the 50s yet, so I'm a 60s baby. I was born in 64. So 60s and 70s is really like, and then all of a sudden the 80s came and it ruined everything. So for people who are watching us on YouTube, look at the things that you've got behind you. I mean, tell us a little bit about what's back.
Yeah. So this is a little
Oh my
shelf
God,
that,
look at your little mug rack.
yeah, oh, yeah. It's a little shelf I keep, and I kind of rotate things in and out of here, but I love color, obviously. The bright colors really, and the bright graphics from the cookbooks and the canisters and the cookware, dishware from the 50s and 60s really I just really go for them. That's my passion. Uh,
And so what do you think it is about the 50s and 60s that color was so vibrant in home wares?
well, I think it was the whole coming out of the war years, and the whole nation was prospering, the suburbs were growing. I just think it was the brighter future, brighter color. I think it was the whole season of prosperity, and the cheerful colors are, I think, just a reflection of that. The very bold graphics that you would see on advertisements and that sort of thing. Um, all a reflection of that time period of prosperity and growth in
Right.
the nation.
And so a few things that we've already shared in a previous episode, that fabulous book, the Better Homes and Gardens decorating book that I
Yes.
bought from you that it was still wrapped in cellophane. And we talked about that in a previous episode about it's interesting that the whole focus of that book is decorating the way you live your life and what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And in a very, very, like in the last, I think in July, there was a article in Better Homes and Gardens where someone brought that back up, that 1960, because I actually think the book was copyrighted in the late 50s. And
Mm-hmm.
it kind of brought that back up again about decorating and what brings you joy, and not so much worry about what the trends are or what everybody else is doing, but do what makes you happy. So I have that book. I have bought cute little shelves. I've bought some. I'm trying to think of what else I've bought from you. I know you're trying to. Now, let me tell everybody this is that you're really good. Is if they message you, you will know if you already have it, or you can try to source it for people. You're trying to find me a pink princess rotary doll phone. So if there's anyone out there that's listening that has one of those, like in your grandma's attic, I will happily take that off your hands. Okay. So Renee, tell everybody where they can find you. Because I know you mentioned the mall.
Yes. So I sell at the Grapevine Antique Market in Grapevine, Texas, and I have 3 booths there that I sell vintage housewares, kitchenware, and also some mid-century art and housewares there. And then online, you can find me on Instagram, Lucy, Betty, and June Vintage. And then I also have an Etsy shop, which is the same name, Lucy, Betty, and June. So
And tell us why Lucy Betty June. I know you've told me this, but listeners don't know.
I was a kid of the 60s also, and grew up watching a lot of TV, and I loved Lucille Ball, June Cleaver, and of course, I love Betty Crocker. That Betty Crocker cookbooks are my favorite. So,
One right behind you.
yes,
Have you
yes,
actually cooked out of do you cook out of your cookbooks?
I do. And
Okay.
that particular one that's right there is it's not my mom's, but it is the one my mom had. That version, and that is how what I learned to cook from. I just absolutely adored that cookbook, and it has the best graphics in it. Oh my goodness, the drawings and the colors and graphics are just so quintessential 1950s, 60s, and it's great. It's a great cookbook.
Brittany and I did an episode that aired before this where we took out our church cookbooks, which are
Hmm.
also a treasure trove of recipes. And then we giggled because we found a few recipes that were just like, why would you make this? Like
Yes.
I don't. There was like an era. I think it was probably more in the '70s when people were really into entertaining, and they would get real fancy with their Jello or their bologna, and it was just
Yes.
like, why, why? You're never going to be invited back. People are never going to come to your parties again if you serve stuffed bologna.
Yes.
So I want. You're a big estate sale shop.
Yes, that's where I found the majority of items that I resell.
So give everybody your top three tips on, getting the maximum out of shopping at an estate sale.
Okay. Well, first off, you need to if you're looking for something or some genre type items in particular, you should do a little research because you can go to a lot of estate sales, especially if you live in an area as big as you and I do, Dallas Fort Worth area. You could go to 80 in a weekend, and you can't do that. That's too many. So do a little homework on estatesales.net first and look for sales that have the type of items you're looking for because every sale will have tons of pictures you can kind of browse through quickly. So that do a little research first, or, if you're looking for something that in particular. Then I would say, narrow it down to an area because you can't track between Dallas and Fort Worth. So either, narrow it down to an area and then pick 5 or 6 and just go. And it is so much fun. Another tip I would give you though is if you see something you want in particular at an estate sale, go early on the first day. Go at least an hour ahead of time and get in line because at the opening time there will be a rush and everybody will go to what they came for, to try to purchase it. So, if you want something, get there early. And then probably the last tip is bring cash and bring your own tote bag. So you'll be so glad you brought your own tote bag that you don't have to, go to the carry around an armful of things. You can kind of shop along. And then so many of the estate sales now are charging fees for credit card use. So, and some of them don't even take credit cards. So bring cash. That's always a good thing to have on hand.
You get a better deal if you bring cash. Can you
Not
make
normally, not normally, but you at least you're not paying the 3 to 4% credit card fee if you were to use a card. And first day is always going to be full price. Second day might have a discount, and then the third day normally is at least 50% off. You kind of if you're waiting on something and you want to take a chance, you can wait till the second or third day and get a better deal there.
do you have a strategy for when you get into the house?
Yes, I know from the pictures what I'm looking for in that house. And generally from the pictures, you can tell if they are in a bedroom, kitchen, garage. You can kind of tell. And as you go through a lot of homes, you know where things are. The kitchens are almost always near the garage for some reason. And then the bedrooms are usually, on the other side. So you kind of, I make an initial scan. I'll go to where I know I want things first, then quickly move around the house and just scan everything else, and then slowly shop from there.
Right. And so do you write all this down? Do you kind of have like a reconnaissance plan written up?
A little bit, as I look through sales online, I will make notes so that I know, oh yeah, this was at that house, and then I can check to see if it's still there.
And what about my friend Catherine ran into this issue one time. She was standing in line and everybody was chatting. It's kind of a fun way to get to know what people collect. And she feels like she made the mistake of saying what it was she was there for, because the lady right in front of her went straight for what she wanted, and
Yes,
just like
I've had
ripped.
that happen too.
Yeah.
And so
What do
I
you do?
just,
Do you just not, like, if somebody says, "Hey, what are you shopping for?" Are you just kind of, are you just kind of real vague?
I'm very vague. I say, I kind of like a little bit of everything. And yes, I learned that lesson too. Same thing happened to me. Gentleman in front of me went right to what I was there for and bought it.
Did
So
you say
yeah,
anything to him?
excuse me, no.
Yeah, she
I
said
mean,
so.
it's just,
She said, you knew this is what I wanted, and you didn't even know it was here. And the lady was like, "Too bad, so sad." I mean,
oh gosh.
people can sometimes just be real. Like, do you think that most people that shop at estate sales are dealers like you?
A lot of them are, yes. And then a lot of them are just there for fun, which, it is a lot of fun to look through the items and you never know what you might find. So I have some friends that have commented, isn't that, sad or creepy going through someone's home? I don't feel that way about it. I feel like if you find something there and you buy it and you keep it or you pass it on through a sale, you're honoring what that person treasured in their home, or what they collected. So I feel good about it. I mean, I really do.
I do too. I feel the exact same way. I know that a lot of times I'm going for mid-century modern collectibles, things from the 60s and 70s, not so much kitchen, but things just like decor or furniture pieces or cute little shelf I just bought from you recently I'm going to hang in my bathroom. Things that just kind of add like an extra layer of something.
Hmm.
But there are times that I will go and I'll purchase a serving piece or a recipe box. And it does make me a little sad for the recipe box, because I think I wish that the women, the daughters of this person, knew that they were letting go of something that was valuable. But maybe they'd already taken what they thought was valuable to them. And when I
Sure.
mean valuable, I don't mean like it cost a lot of money. I'm talking about valuable memories. Because now that my mother's gone, I wish I had a lot more of her handwritten recipes. But I like to know that, okay, now I've got Martha's recipe box, honoring Martha by using her gold plated flatware to entertain. And so I just love it. I mean, some of the rooms in the house are a little creepy, like if they collect dolls or something. And I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings that collects dolls. I think that's fabulous. We all have what we love. But some rooms kind of have a vibe of, ooh, like,
Sure.
or how the estate sale person set it up.
Sure.
I think you can set it up to look very almost like a department store and make it pleasing.
Sure. And I love when you find a home where you can tell that the woman who was there was just a consummate hostess. I mean, you can just tell there will be the linens and the dishware and the china. There will just be all the things for entertaining. And I love to find items there that I can buy because you just know they were special and treasured and curated over the years by her. And you're passing them on to someone else who will do the same. Oh, I love those kind of homes.
Too. So what has been your number one thing you've ever found at an estate sale that you still are just like, I can't believe I found this, or it's my favorite thing ever?
Ah, hmm.
I know it's hard because you've been doing it
It
for what,
it
20?
is hard, yes, because I love so many little things. But I would say tablecloths. I collect vintage printed tablecloths from the 50s and 60s, and oh my gosh, I love them. And I buy them to sell, and then I end up keeping the majority of them because they're all different and oh, they're just so wonderful.
And it's the fabric
Hmm.
of those. What was in the fabric of those linens from the 50s and 60s? Because they don't make them like that now.
A lot of them, I have a couple little examples here,
Yeah,
so
show
if
us.
people are watching, they can see
Oh,
that, they're just they're so crisp. I think they're a blend of cotton and linen a lot of times, and they're just uh so fun. So
now,
fun to find. A lot of times I'll have to soak them for days to get, stains removed.
what do you soak them in?
I use Biz. powdered Biz detergent, and and just soak them in hot water. Start out in hot water, but just soak them for 2 or 3 days if you can in a tub or in your wash machine if you can leave it, and that usually does the trick. A lot of the stains on them are from butter, grease, so just a few days of soaking will usually take it out.
Yeah. Okay, so linens are just like your quintessential like so favorite. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's shift gears. Maybe people are thinking, I want to start collecting something. Or what if I started to go to estate sales, what are some things that might be really desirable right now? Or what
Mm-hmm.
would be, if you're going to tell a new collector, what would be some good things to consider? What would be your advice on that?
Well, first off, I'd say collect something you love or something that brings you joy when you look at it. If you're going to collect it for yourself, maybe for display, just start with something small that you love and maybe get 2 or 3 of them, and then all of a sudden you have a little grouping, and it just, kind of blossoms from there. But some of the things that are hot right now that really are kind of always hot in the vintage world are, of course, Pyrex dishware and cookware, as well as Fire King dishware and cookware. Um,
That's something that you're looking for me.
yes.
Shared with Renee that I had a set, and they were vintage, and they were given to me by someone who they belonged to their mother. And it was a set of nesting mixing bowls that were the jadeite. And I don't know who did it or how it happened, but they were up on a shelf. I'm not sure if a set of cookbooks shifted or a cat knocked them off. I would find it hard to believe that an entire set of jadeite Fire King bowls could be knocked off by a cat. But I heard this crash in the middle of the night, and I went out there, and they're just broken in pieces. But I have something I'm going to do with them so that I'm not going to just totally throw them in the trash. But you are going to help me try to find a set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Fire King's collectible.
Jadeite is always highly collectible. People love that beautiful shade of green, that they are in. Milk glass, same thing. Milk glass has a timeless kind of quality to it that the white goes with any decor. People just love that stuff. Some other things that are hot right now are vintage Christmas decor, especially from the 50s and 60s. That is really, really getting more and more difficult to find. When I first started collecting, there was a lot of it out there. And now as the years go by, I just find less and less of it when I'm shopping out at the estate sales. So that's a great thing if you find any of it.
Are those like the shiny brights?
Shiny bright, yes, shiny bright ornaments, and any of the little figurines from Japan. You want to find the things that are marked Japan on the bottom, little ceramic figurines of Santa or elves or sprites or, any of the carolers. Those are always just classics, Christmas vintage decor that people are hunting for.
Yeah.
So those are great things.
You think sellers now are pretty savvy knowing that they have something of value?
I think so.
Yeah.
With the advent of Google Lens, everybody can instantly find out what something might be worth. So, yeah, I think sellers are pretty savvy.
Has that impacted, you think, you as a seller, that now you can just Google everything to see how much you do? I mean, because I'm guilty of that. Not so much when I go to an estate sale, because I do try to honor and respect the prices that estate sellers have put on their prices. I know some sellers price their things a little higher, but they also start discounting things a little sooner. So it kind of is a trade-off.
Right.
When I go into a boutique, if I see a cookbook that I love, I immediately check Amazon, which I'm trying not to support Amazon as much. But do you feel like Google Lens has really impacted your business?
It has. It definitely has. Yeah. And especially seemed like during the time of COVID, that once people were out and about again, that sent so many more people shopping at estate sales, and that's really changed the pricing too.
Right.
Up the pricing, I should say.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you prefer estate sales or garage sales?
Oh, definitely estate sales. Yes. They are, because I can do my homework and because I can really target where I want to go and what I want to see. And they're generally more, they're going to be older items at estate sales, generally, not always, but than a garage sale.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay, so remind everybody where they can find you again.
Okay, on Instagram, Lucy, Betty, and June Vintage, and on Facebook also the same thing, Lucy, Betty, and June Vintage. And then have a physical booth in the Grapevine Antique Mall in Grapevine, Texas.
Yeah, that's going to be on my summer bucket list, is to come in and see your booths at the Grapevine
Great.
Mall. So, Renee, this has been such a delight to have you, and I encourage our listeners to reach out to you if they're hunting for something, if they're looking, if they have questions, to reach out to you, because you are such a wealth of information and just an all-around great person. I'm just so glad that you and I have met and become friends.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you for having me on. I'm thrilled to be a guest.
You're welcome. Okay, everybody, that's our interview with Renee from Lucy and Betty June.
Okay, so that was great to hear from Renee. I
It
think
was.
it was very interesting to hear from someone who has been doing this a while, collecting and being a dealer, and kind of seeing some of the trends and things that have popped back up. Like she said, vintage Christmas. I can see that it's become a huge thing since I started really using vintage Christmas in my home. I don't really have a lot of vintage Christmas that I bought. It was all stuff from family members. But I started adding to my vintage ornament collection that was my grandmother's because I wanted more, and it's become harder to find. And I don't know if you know Vintage Holiday on Instagram,
No,
Levin. I
but
don't
I
want to
think
say
I
his name
need
wrong,
to know.
but you do. He doesn't post throughout the year as much on Instagram, but his Christmas trees, my Christmas tree that I have, I actually bought from him because it's one of those sparse vintage looking ones, and it really makes your vintage ornaments shine. So I can see what she's saying about Christmas becoming harder to find and more, because it has become more popular. What was anything surprising to you from that interview with Renee about collecting or estate sale tips and things like that?
No, but I did really like when we talked about what made, and I hadn't thought about it. What what made the 50s and 60s, mostly the 50s, why was everything so colorful?
Yeah.
And she talked about it was because it was post-war and everybody
Mm-hmm.
was so celebratory and wanted things to be happy. And I totally agree that I remember being a real little girl and Mamie Eisenhower was really into pink. And so, like, there were several bathrooms in the White House that were pink, and a lot of women copied that in their own homes. So, if you go into a home that's like your age home, it's not surprising to find pink or green tile. In fact, one of the houses that Mr. Twist,
Yellow.
our first house that Mr. Twist and I lived in, the bathroom had a jade green tile, and it was beautiful. And I never changed it, but we weren't there long enough to really change it. And I hope that no one went in and like gutted it because I'm sure it was tile from the 50s.
Yeah. All of the houses I have owned have had colored tile because all the houses I've owned are from the 50s. The first one had pink and burgundy as a combo. The second one
Ooh.
had pink and white and then yellow and white. And this one has yellow. And so I'm leaving the yellow. One project I may try to do is find a wallpaper that ties in with that yellow tile
Mm,
for that bathroom.
mhm.
And I think I talked before, like I have one main bathroom. I don't have an ensuite. So it's my bathroom and guest bathroom right now. So,
Is it pretty
uh,
big?
no.
It's small.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess what else should we talk about with Renee?
Well, her estate sales
Oh,
and her
yeah.
tips.
I
Mm-hmm.
told her I totally want to go and
Mm-hmm.
shop with her because I think that I would just go along for the ride and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
see what she's shopping for.
And just, I love her advice to do the research beforehand, especially if you're in an area with a lot of estate sales that you could go to, like find a small area where there are three or four you can get to quickly and research them on the things that you might be looking for. And I mean, the biggest piece of advice, even though you want to try to go and get the deals, if like in the later days, if there's something you want, you got to be there early on the first day. And
No,
don't tell anybody that's what you're looking for.
no, you got to get it. And I mentioned in the video that happened to my friend Catherine, and that actually was a very ugly exchange. And it was with a gal that that's local in Fort Worth that's on social media. And it could have been a really ugly, if Catherine was the kind of person to call her out on it, and Catherine has bought things from her in the past, and quietly DM'd and said, "Hey, I just kind of want to let you know about this exchange we had at this estate sale, and it really disappointed me to see how you acted." And you know what happened?
What? She
No, she gave the stuff to Catherine. Yeah, she brought it back, and I don't know if she gave all of it or if she split it up and gave like Catherine a portion. I think it was some really pretty china or something. And with a note that just said, "I behaved poorly. I totally take responsibility for that, and I'm sorry." And so it all worked out in the end. Those are not always the same stories.
No. But it is also kind of fun because I go as a little bit of both as a reseller because we do have this shop, but also for me personally, if there's something that I'm looking for, and I am almost always looking for vintage Christmas ornaments these days. But it's fun because you kind of get to talk to the people in line, and they're not really, nobody's really sharing what they want necessarily, but it is kind of a kind of fun little vibe with the camaraderie. People are like, "Whoa, running, running."
Yeah.
And I did have one interesting exchange where there was a pair. Let's see, if you're watching, you can probably see them, but that bamboo table on the side of my
I
bamboo and
love
grass
that.
fireplace, I have two of those. And I went to an estate sale specifically for those. I was third in line, and they were on either side of a hallway entrance, like a wide hallway entrance. And you have to grab the tags. So I grabbed one, and another lady grabbed the other. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just get one. It's okay. I really want both of them. But I wasn't really upset about it. But the estate sale dealer, or the people doing the estate sale, I knew them. I know them well, and I just said, "Hey, I was looking for both of them, but I'll just get the one. It's no big deal." Well, the other lady was kind of pissy about it, and she didn't want just one, and so she gave me the other one. And
Well,
so
that
it
worked
was kind of
out.
neat.
Yeah, her bad attitude worked out to be a blessing for you.
Yeah. So,
That's
and I
great.
wasn't going to give up the one because I really liked it, and I knew I could use just one, even though I
Yeah.
wanted the pair. So,
If you can make friends with someone who is a dealer, you can all like, and I do this with Renee, is I will message her and say, like right now, I'm looking for an oil painting of a woman from the 50s. I'd prefer 60s that has on like pearls and like a cute little prom gown outfit, or maybe a debutante or something that I can hang her in my ladies lounge and I can get a name and a story. So Renee's kind of on the hunt for that. And then the pink rotary dial phone. I really have to have a pink rotary dial phone for my home. So, well, that was
yeah,
a great interview, and
it
we
was.
we loved having Renee on the show. And like I said, everybody go and follow her on her account.
Hmm.
Lucy Betty June Vintage. She has an Etsy website. She has 3 different booths at the Grapevine Antiques Mall, and she shares lovely things on her account. So, and she could be a good resource for you if you're looking for something.
Agreed. All right, we're moving on to Bless It We Had to Share. And this is, one of my favorite things because it's random, but it's all the things that we have come across and love and want to share with y'all are just news and exciting things that we want to share. And mine is actually news this week.
Ooh, I love it. Okay.
Actually, yeah, I think I might have news next week too. But I've kind of alluded to this when I talked about the soy candles that my friend Laura at Bushel and Peck handcrafted made. Well, she's just updated her Instagram handle. This is her last year of making and selling candles.
Oh,
But she's still going to have some of that source, but she's kind of switching gears and doing some home as a home decor resource. But I am collaborating with her to create a candle that will be sold in September. So we worked together to design the scent profile, and I've been collecting, like we were talking about earlier, vintage glass pieces that the candles will go in. So they're all different sizes, so there'll be different price points. There's some showstopper ones, like a few candy dishes with lids
mm.
that'll have the candles made in them, and some smaller ones. So there'll be several different price ranges and a limited number. I think we're shooting for 15 to 20 total.
Well, so you really need as soon as you launch it, you need to snag it.
So I'm excited because she made up some options based on the scents that I kind of was feeling that I like and would like to be my signature home scent. And so the main note is gardenia,
Okay.
and then the other notes are sandalwood and a hint of vanilla, but not like sweet, sweet vanilla. More of a, I don't know, what's the right word for it? But anyway, it's gardenia, sandalwood, vanilla are the three notes. It smells amazing. It's soy and a clean candle. Haven't finalized the name of it, but it will have something to do with sentimental stories. I'm thinking the Sentimental Story Keeper is going to be the name of it. I'm not 100% sure. But in early September, it'll launch, and in the best way is to follow me because I'll share about it on my Instagram. You can follow Laura and also get the news about it at The Bushel and Peck. So that is her Instagram handle, at The Bushel and Peck.
Well, I'm so excited for you. That's going to be great.
It's fun. I mean, it won't be very many, and it's just she's local here, and we'll sell them online, and then we also have a little art show that if we have any that didn't sell online, we'll have at the art show.
And so people can order it. Will you have a link on your Instagram for people to order the candles? Okay, great. I know they're going to sell out.
I hope it really does.
I want to make sure that I get one.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
That means there's
I
only going
got
to
to
be.
pick all the glass and all the things, so I've had a lot of fun with it,
Okay,
shopping
so
for the
if you
glass.
pick out 15 containers, that means that there's only going to be 14 left because I have
I'll pick out a few extra to
your
make sure we have
co-host
plenty.
has to have a gardenia, sandalwood, and vanilla candle.
It
That's
smells really good. I'm
exciting. That's
excited
neat.
about it.
I'm happy
So,
for you. Good for you.
thanks.
Okay, so mine is this great well, I have two actually. So, we talked about church cookbooks in previous
Oh, yeah.
episodes, and my quest to find a cookbook that has either my mother's or some of her friends' recipes or Elizabeth Doyle that
Whoever
did
that
the
may be.
chocolate cake. We don't know who she is. I probably will never find her. It would be totally fun if I did. That would be a whole great podcast episode. So, this week, my bestie Julie and I went up to my parents' old church, which also used to be Julie's old church. So when we walked in, talk about scent, we were immediately taken back to
Mm-hmm.
childhoods of, running the halls of the church, church choir, youth group, vacation Bible school, all the things. My sister's wedding was at this church. We
Mm-hmm.
walked down to the fellowship hall, and
Did it smell like your most nostalgic VBS church
it
scent?
did. Kool-Aid and butter cookies. That's what church vacation Bible school reminds me of. And I mean, when I stepped into that fellowship hall, I immediately was transported to 1972 when my sister got married. And I was wearing a pale yellow Swiss dotted bridesmaid's dress, flower girl's dress, and the cake on the table and the daisies. And it was just, oh, I just wish I could go back to that again. It was really, really sweet. Well, the pastor told us that I misunderstood, I think, that there was some kind of room or closet that had a bunch of old books in it, and we were going to be just rifling through things. Well, that's not what happened. It was a room, and it had maybe like one cookbook on it. And it was from the 50s, so it was a little too early, I think, for when my parents were members of that church. So it wasn't a total bust. We got the memory lane walk. Well, while we were there, we went onto eBay and
Found it.
I found something. I found a Meadowbrook Methodist Church cookbook from 1969, I think is this when this is. And it did not have any of my mother's recipes. Perhaps my mother never submitted any recipes. I don't know. Maybe my sister would be. But it did have one of my mother's dear friends, Julia Johnson, who was like my little adult best friend when I was little. It has her recipes in it.
That's
But
precious.
this recipe came from, back in the day, a lot of older women would put their mailing address tags
Mm-hmm.
on like cake pans or
Oh,
pie
yeah.
plates so that
All their serveware.
so that you knew who to get it back to. So this belonged to Miriam Bush. And you can tell Miriam loved it. Well, first of all, it's falling apart.
That's how all mine are.
Yeah, and you could tell Miriam used it because the green tabs in here, she really did it up for casserole dishes because it has got all kinds of stains on it. But I'm really excited to be able to go through this and see if I recognize any names. But
That's so fun.
modern day, this is a great cookbook that I just got called Swing By, and it's
Okay.
by Stephanie Noss, and it's entertaining recipes and the new art of gathering. The photos in here are
Mm,
exquisite, and mainly it's recipes for, hey, just stop on by, I'll whip something up kind of
yeah,
thing, you know?
I love
And
that.
I just love the cover art. I have these dishes on the back, the little melamine bamboo.
Uh,
So I'm really excited to dive into this book and use it even. Look at this right here.
wow.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Gorgeous.
I love cookbooks that can also be a coffee table book. It's got cocktail recipes, it's got appetizers, all kinds of things like pasta night, tomato soup, candied pecans, all different kinds of things. So this would make a great hostess gift or for
For
somebody who
sure.
loves to entertain. So it's Swing by Stephanie Noss, and we'll put that in our show notes.
Okay.
Okay.
So fun.
Yay. Yes. Okay, so now we're going to do Porch Talk Speed Round, which is Brittany's favorite. This is where we fire off quick questions, share even quicker answers, and you get to get a peek behind the door to see who we really are. Okay, you ready?
Ready.
What's something you always have in your bag besides your phone?
My post-transplant medicine in my chronically chic daily pill box.
Okay, that is something we're going to have to spend some time in season 2 talking about
Yeah.
your transplant journey because that has made you who you are, right?
And
That's a
I
big
just
deal.
celebrated my 4th transplant anniversary. So,
Good for you. Good for you. First thing you bought with your own money.
okay, as a kid, if I had any money, it was probably like a Barbie doll or a toy. But I was thinking about this, like my first big girl purchase with my first paycheck, my first real paycheck, was a couch from the clearance section at Haverty's Furniture.
Do you still have it?
No,
Okay.
it was like brown microfiber, just
Oh. Yeah, it was
suede,
just
you know, that micro suede.
yeah, it was
It was
just
just I needed a couch and it was
yeah.
super cheap.
It was your starter couch.
Yeah, but it was nice. It was very comfortable.
What's your favorite sound in the world?
Beach waves, maybe.
Mm,
It just instantly reduces my blood pressure,
yeah, I
you
love
know?
that. There is something so calming about the beach. That was the first, my mother died in May of 2013. So that meant Christmas was going to be a whole lot different because both my parents were gone. But I just knew Christmas morning, since they lived with me, was going to be a totally different vibe. So I told Mr. Twist that we were not going to be in the house on Christmas morning. So he booked a trip for us we drove to Gulf Shores, Alabama, and rented a condo right on the water. And that's when we had Ruthie, my wiener dog, and we took her with us. And I remember sitting on that porch with her in my lap, just staring at the ocean every day. And I'm so glad we did that because it totally changed and reframed my expectations for Christmas.
Mhm.
And we just did what we wanted to do. I think Miss Twist, Phoebe, was grieving it being different too. So I think she slept till like 11 that day. We had a late brunch. We went for a walk on the beach, and it is the ocean water and the sound of the ocean is so healing,
It
so
is.
restorative. I
Mhm.
love that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my favorite.
Yeah.
All right, your turn. What is something you always have in your bag besides your phone?
Lipstick.
That was my other answer. What's your go-to color? Your signature
It
color?
depends. Like today, I have on a shirt that has oranges. So I'm wearing a color that's kind of a ginger color. So that's not my normal. I'm very cool. Even though I'm in autumn and I should be wearing warm colors, I tend to gravitate toward bright colors like pink and, red.
Mhm.
So it depends on what I'm wearing. Usually it's going to be either a pink or a red. Yeah.
Okay, first thing you bought with your own money.
Okay. I would have to go back to elementary school and say that when I would get money from my parents for like an allowance, or if my dad slipped me some money, my bestie Julie, who I've known since I was 5, we would walk down to Mott's, which was about a 5-block walk from my house in the neighborhood. Very quiet, sleepy neighborhood. Didn't have to worry about your kids like you kind of do now, especially 2 little girls. And Mott's was your old timey 5 and dime. Floors will talk about smells. when you open that door, I can smell it now. The floors were a wood creaky floor. And they sold everything from your grandma's underwear to plungers to, stop up a plug in your toilet and everything in between. And the candy aisle were glass bins filled with all different kinds of candy. And so I would go through like a steamroller and just pile all my candy in a paper sack and take it to the register. And my best friend was still going through and being very discriminatory about what she would pick. I think I had half my candy eaten in the bag by the time she was finished even just putting her things in a bag. So it would have to be penny candy from Mott's.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great.
hmm
All right. What's your favorite sound in the world?
Well, you would love this because it's the sound of birds.
Oh, I love that too.
In fact, yesterday I was out watering my plants, my pots on the porch, and cutting back a few things, and the birds just sounded so happy yesterday. I don't know what birds it was that I was hearing. Of course, you can always hear a redbird. That or a mourning dove. Those are very distinctive. But and I remember coming in and telling Mr. Twist, the birds seem really happy today. And I just love the sounds of birds.
I do too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, we're going to move on now to listener submissions called Whatcha Thinkin' Sugar. And we love it when y'all write in with what's on your mind, so keep doing it. And we are going to share as long as y'all will send us stuff to share. So let's pull up a chair and we'll talk it out. Okay, so here are some things our followers have been telling us lately. We asked about what you're working on this month, and Mary said she's organizing and decorating her office.
Love
So
that.
that's one.
Yeah. Something about organized spaces just makes you feel like so on top of the world.
Oh, I know.
I
Like
love
you
it.
have it all together.
Yes.
All right, what's the next one?
The
You wanna
next
do the
one
next
is, what's your favorite summer memory? And Jan said, eating ice cold watermelon that is chilled all day in the lake. I thought that was really cool that they just drop the whole watermelon in the lake, let it chill while they do their activities, and then her dad squirting them with the water hose.
Yeah.
Isn't that sweet?
We didn't have a pool. A neighbor did, so we would like walk to our neighbor's pool house, but to her house to go to the pool. But our summer entertainment with water was the sprinkler. So,
Yeah, or the slip and slide.
oh yeah, we did do slip and slide
Oh,
sometimes.
those were so fun. I need to get one of those for my nephews and my niece. I think they would really like that.
That's
Okay.
fun. I should do that for mine too. Okay, so and this comment makes us super happy. Andrea told us that after seeing Melissa's Daisies and Denims tablescape, that her daughter recently married and chose Blue Danube as her pattern, just like her Gigi. And that's Andrea's mom. So that's precious.
Isn't that sweet? That makes me so happy to know that her young daughter, I don't know how old her daughter is, let's say she's probably in her 20s,
Yeah.
chose a pattern that is so quintessential, not only Southern,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, and just like her
Classic.
Mimi's pattern.
I know.
I
That's perfect.
immediately said to her, you have to get your daughter the snack set. In fact, I've
Mm.
got it. I'm sitting at my table that has the Denim and Daisies on it. And for anybody who doesn't know what a snack set is, this is a snack set. So it would
Cute.
be a plate that has a little divot in it that holds the cup. And these were designed for, like you could use it for appetizers, but really I think it's designed for like if you're going to have your ladies over for lunch, you'd have a little sandwich and maybe a little dollop of fruit salad, and then either punch or coffee, or you could put your fruit salad in here and then have like chips or something on the side. But this is a Hostess set, and this is the Blue Danube pattern. But I immediately told Andrea, you've got to get your daughter the Hostess set. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, great episode. We're coming to the last segment, the toast to sentiment. It is my week to share, and I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Y'all know, if you've been around a bit on my Instagram, I launched the Sentimental Style Starter Kit, and I'm in the midst of the 21-day walkthrough with those that bought the kit on a separate private Instagram. In that process, I was looking up different things as I've been researching to create the kit. And so this part of the show is when we share a quote or a story or something, a sentimental story, that just, made us smile. And so I'm going to share a quote that I found through that research process about preserving the past and being part of preserving the past. And it's from Daniel Webster, who was a 19th century politician. I think he served as Secretary of State and was a senator and representative. But anyways, the quote just made me really ponder our role in preserving the past for future generations. And so it said, those who do not look upon themselves as a link connecting the past with the future do not perform their duty to the world. And I just thought, that's exactly what we're talking about through the Sentimental Twist, is being that link and carrying on the traditions and the rituals and the history of those that we love and who we come from for the future and for future generations. And so my toast this week is to being the preservers. We talk about that, to being a link.
I
So
love
linking
that.
the past with the
I
future.
love that. That is such a great quote. Let's be sure to share that on our Instagram page, the Sentimental Twist Podcast.
I love that.
That's great.
Speaking of the Sentimental Twist podcast, we are closing out the show. That's all for this week's episode. We've got one more full episode this season coming up next week, but we want y'all to make sure you're following us on Instagram at the Sentimental Twist Podcast for all the details about season 2 coming out. We're going to take a little break and we'll be back for fall and holiday content. But we've got one more episode, so make sure you're following us and send us your sentimental stories, meaningful home spaces, and kitchen recipes, all the things.
Yeah, and be a Janet. You know, Janet gave
Yeah.
us a huge shout out yesterday.
We did.
Yeah, be a Janet and share this podcast with someone that you think would really love it. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on the Sentimental Twist.
Where we believe every space tells a story.
And every story deserves a place at the table. Until next time.
Keep things cozy, collected, and a little bit sentimental.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. See you next week.